Namaste, everyone. I'm Sureka. I'm from Austin, Texas. Really thankful for Kirti ji. Such a wonderful topic she has chosen, and this has been in my list to do from last year. So I'm so happy and thankful to universe that I got a chance to be with great masters here and to learn with you all. So I welcome Shailesh ji and all the masters here. I think Chandra sir may not join today. So, but we'll ask whatever we can, and we'll just clarify our questions and try to learn from each other. Welcome, Shailesh ji. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely the very specific topic that where we are in terms of the book. I think we will need to definitely discuss it with Chandra sir. He has got a very deep knowledge and deep understanding of these concepts. Um, his his style of learning is quite deep. Not like me. I don't go very deep. I try and understand as much as is necessary for me to proceed further. And as long as that requirement is met, I am okay, right? But learning from a master like Chandra sir is really a very, I would say, very fortunate thing for us that we have him as part of this group. So we will definitely patiently wait for his ideas and thoughts on the very subject that we are talking about. But for now, if you have any specific questions, I will try and address as much as I can. So you can ask any question of that you have. Feel free to join the discussion as well.
Speaking in me. Thank you so much, Shailesh ji. I think you both are great masters. I know Chandra sir for last 4 years, so I know how deep he goes. Um, but
Yes.
wonderful to get a high level. I think you both balance it out. That's how I look. And masters, if anybody has any like already prepared some questions, you can go ahead. I have few, but I will, save them for later. If anybody has any questions, please. We are very like a small team here. You all can come on the video. Feel free to come on video and ask. It will be really good interaction session. I guess maybe masters are still thinking. So let me
Yes.
go ahead with my question. Um, the question I posted in the group. Um, this topic is really beautiful. I know first session I did, but when you are hosting and when you are trying to be the host, I think you'll you'll learn more, or you'll look into it more minute details. So when I was listening to Kirti Garu's audio and also looking at like other documents which were posted in the group. So one thought came for me: how are these three related? Violations, natural guilt, and the other one is spontaneity.
Yes.
So how these three, are they related, or how? And if so, how they are related? So that was my first question, and I had a couple of other questions raised when I was reading. I felt like this subject, if you just listen one time, it will not come. I have to listen few times and understand what they are
Yes.
talking. So that's when I got these questions. So I would
Very
let
nice.
Shailesh ji answer. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, this is a very good thing. You have that question means that you are deliberating on the subject, and that's a very good thing. Deliberating anything, just think about it. That one word called spontaneity, on that Seth has elaborated in one chapter, one complete chapter of a book, talks about that one word. So that gives us an idea as to how important that word is. Um, Even before we get into specifics of spontaneity and violations and the natural guilt. I read the chapter in the book which we are following right now. I read that chapter as well to understand. And since I'm doing the unified course also in parallel, lot of knowledge is common. I'm not sure how many of you have done the unified or are doing unified at the moment. Is everyone, do you understand the unified course, or should I eliminate the relevance to that course? What do you guys think? Shall I connect the two things up?
Yes, sir. Please do connect. Yeah. I
Yeah,
am doing
okay.
regularly the unified. I
Very good.
watch the recordings. I'm on the
Yeah,
Pacific side, West Coast. So I
yes.
watch the recordings and do every day. But please do relate. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So in the unified course, I find that Babaji has touched upon pretty much all the topics of Seth in his own way. When you work with the practices given in unified on specific topics, you begin to see the connection. So let me, if you remember, there's a chapter in unified which is called spontaneous right action. You remember spontaneous right action? There's a
Yeah.
chapter on this, right? 1 week we have worked on it, the
Yeah.
whole week, right? Spontaneous right action. So the word spontaneous is there. So in these three words, spontaneous right action chapter, there are three words. Actions, we know what it means. Spontaneous and then right. So there are spontaneous actions, then there are spontaneous right actions. That's what Babaji is telling us about there. So what is important to understand is what is the meaning of spontaneous. So Seth is talking about understanding spontaneity. What does it really mean? So today let's understand spontaneity, and then we will also be able to understand what is the meaning of spontaneous action. Right? So spontaneity as a word, the literal meaning is our natural behavior, natural response that is spontaneous. So say for example, if you are busy watching a TV program, for example, you're busy watching, you are totally engrossed, and suddenly somebody comes from behind and knocks on your head. At the time, whatever reaction you come up with, in that state of totally absorbed in the television, and in that state, that disturbance that is created makes you react. That action at the time is not a deliberate action. You haven't deliberated in your head about it. You just came up with that reaction all of a sudden. That is your natural response to disturbance. That is spontaneity. That means our responses to external stimuli without deliberation. That's our natural response. There's a joke also on this. There's a lovely joke that some I heard somewhere, that in a king's court, there's a person who comes here and says that I know 30 languages, and I challenge any one of your courtiers to figure out my mother tongue. Everybody tried, and he would always say that very language that the other person is communicating with in the most authentic way. So many of the courtiers tried with different languages. They couldn't figure out his mother tongue. So the minister of the king, he said, well, let me try. So he just walked out of the court and picked up the spear which the doorman was holding in his hand. He picked up that spear and came and poked that guy from behind. As soon as he poked the guy from behind, he suddenly started shouting in his mother tongue actually. That is the spontaneous response. And they caught him, this is your mother tongue. You know, that was totally a reaction not deliberated by the mind. And that's where his mother tongue came out, right? So this is the this example will give you an idea of what is spontaneity. So if when we look at it from a different perspective, like how the mind is functioning, we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind controls our automated actions. Automated actions means, like, for example, when you wake up in the morning, you put both your feet on the floor and you get up and start walking. This, you don't apply your brain into, well, what am I doing by putting my foot on the floor? You just get up, start walking. You are able to balance naturally, right? That is a spontaneous action. It is controlled by our subconscious, which got trained in our childhood to balance on 2 feet and be able to walk. So we trained the subconscious. By practicing, we trained, subconscious learned it, and now we don't have to think about it anymore. Same thing for how do you cycle. When you learned to ride a cycle, you learned it that way. You fell several times, practiced, and then eventually your automated system learned the art of riding a bike. And now you don't think. You simply sit on the bike and start pedaling and you are on your way. So same thing about driving. So there are so many things we do every day. Say for example, you are making dosa in the kitchen. You are not putting any deliberate thoughts into making the dosa. Your hands are doing the function. They are trained now to naturally follow a sequence of actions, and then they do it spontaneously. That is spontaneous. So in unified course, we learnt about spontaneous actions. That means the actions which we do without deliberation, in a natural manner. Whatever actions we do in a natural manner, like riding a bicycle, making dosa, or driving a car, all those things are our spontaneous actions. Now, he introduced one more word in between, spontaneous right action. And that definition of the right he has given in chapter 1. First chapter of Unified Course is the most important chapter of all. There he has defined what is right. Why do we all have difficult experiences in life? Because we are not doing the right things. We are not aligned with the qualities of God. Once the moment we deviate from the qualities of God, our actions cannot be right. So that's his reference to the right part. So I just uh, connected you with that. But spontaneity here, when we talk of Seth material, what Seth is talking about is our natural reactions. Where do they come from? They come from our subconscious. Subconscious is our wisdom from all our past lifetimes and the things we have learned through experience in this lifetime. All that guides our spontaneity, our reactions to situations, our reactions to external stimuli. It comes from our inner readiness, inner level. Like in the last session, we talked about level of consciousness. That level of consciousness is our growth. So that governs our spontaneous actions. Okay, so that's the spontaneity part. Now we come to violations and natural guilt. I thought for some time about why does he call it natural guilt? Why not just guilt? So natural guilt and guilt, the guilt in general is feeling bad about something that we did, right? Feeling negative about ourselves, that I did this mistake and I feel negative about it. Now, when this definition of mistake is my own, from when it comes from within me, which means it comes from my wisdom, then it is natural guilt, because that's my nature, which has immediately recognized that this thing that I did is not correct. Then it is natural guilt. And when somebody else comes and tells me, this is something you did bad, this is wrong, then that is an imposed guilt. I didn't do it because I knew it was wrong. I did it, but now somebody else is evaluating it to be wrong. That is external judgment, which makes me feel guilty. That is not my natural wisdom, though, because if it was from my wisdom, I would have had natural guilt. Right? So understand why he is calling natural. Natural means it is an evaluation of your actions by your own inner wisdom. Your inner wisdom determined that this is something that you did that is, by my own experience of the past, is not correct, not right thing to do. That is the natural guilt, right? And violation is doing that action which creates the feeling of guilt. That means I'm violating my own criteria. My own wisdom says these are the right things to do. And when I see a violation of that criteria, which I have defined as correct, then it becomes violation and it gives me a feeling of natural guilt. So this is how they are connected. So sometimes my spontaneous actions could create a violation of my own values, my own value system, and that will create a natural guilt. That's how I have understood the three things from that chapter.
Thank you so much. So I figured out like two examples when I was trying to understand these three topics little more depth. Like one example I could relate is like especially in not in all the families, but a woman, right? First, when she gets married and she goes to in-laws' house, like spontaneously she cannot do anything because she has so many restrictions, right? For new people,
Mm,
especially, I mean, nowadays not arranged
mm,
and all, like in olden days at least, completely new people.
mm,
And you are given like all these rules and you have to follow. So it's like your inner is telling something but outside people are telling something. So
mm,
there you have that guilt, still you're doing it for the sake of people. Sometimes it's not only just women, it could be even workplace also.
mm,
Sometimes we may not agree with it, but
mm,
we are still doing it.
mm,
So I felt like that is probably a natural guilt. And the violation can be it is against to your wish.
mm.
um,
Yes.
that is one thing.
Mm,
So that's how I connected. And other example I could see in my life at least, or I have seen people in the family spontaneously angry
mm,
without even they thinking, whatever comes out from the mouth they just say it.
mm,
So in that case, how do you, like, okay, we understand in childhood whatever the subconscious mind had all this, the words whatever they speak in angry,
mm,
whenever that triggers, right? The way you said spontaneous can be like a trigger. So okay, we understand what the meaning and all. How do you come out, or how do you tell that person that it is not right, or you erase that subconscious whatever you have built up from childhood? How do we do that? So that was my another question.
sure. So what you the in the first example, even if you think about a workplace, or a new bride in a new home, there it won't be spontaneous.
Mm,
She will have to deliberately focus on what she is doing, whether it meets the guidelines of this family.
mm, yeah.
So she will be deliberate about every action. It won't be spontaneous. But some of her spontaneous reactions to, let's say, for example, they say, okay, why don't you make some tea? And you just go into the kitchen, start making tea the way you used to make in your father's house, right? That is spontaneous action. And that tea now is not up to the criteria of that family. That would be their violation.
Yeah.
Okay. But understanding it from spontaneity point of view, spontaneity will be quite checked in this case, because you are conscious that I am in a new place. This is not my home. This is a different place, and I have to now learn. Right? So you are in a learning mode, acceptance mode at that time. So your spontaneity will be quite suppressed. You won't be natural in a place like that, right? When you are new in the office, you are never natural. You always put on a face. You always put on the best of your etiquettes, best of your manners, the best of you. And then after some time, you become used to the place, you settle down, and then you get back to your natural state, right? Okay. Now, second thing that what was your second thing? Question was about
The spontaneity about a person, like in subconscious,
anger.
especially anger
Anger.
issues,
Okay.
and people will
Yes.
just say whatever they, yeah.
Yeah. So, what we cannot change others. Remember this. Nobody can change anyone else. The only person that we can change is ourselves. Everyone they have to learn from their own experiences, and that learning will change them. Okay. You go back in history of your own life and figure out how many times were you able to change because somebody said something. We never changed. We changed only when we confronted a situation that taught us something. Same thing is for everybody. And there's nothing wrong about it, because we are all after experiences only. We learn only from experience. So, change is something we have to work on ourselves. So, if I find that my spontaneity in times of anger is very bitter, there is a pattern to my anger, right? Then we start watching it. Now that we are conscious that in my natural response, I spit poison, right? So then once you become conscious, then you start working on that. You start studying the causes, the triggers. You start looking at what that trigger is, and that trigger, if you have understood unified, that trigger is only from your own manifestation. You have created that trigger to learn something from outside. To see, basically, it's a mirror showing you yourself. So, say for example, if somebody uses a loud voice in front of you and you feel angry, then now you have to see what is it my processing of that loud voice. Do I feel violated? Do I feel disrespected? Or do I feel intimidated or pressured? What do I feel from a loud voice? Process that internally, your triggers will vanish. You won't get triggered by that particular thing in future. You won't. That's how you process um, external influences. Okay, so working on myself is not difficult as long as I'm alert. I'm not getting lost in the person who delivered the trigger. Our problem is we get focused on the person who spoke that way. That's not what it is. That person is simply a messenger. He is a courier. We should look at the letter delivered to me.
What we are
Courier
taking
doesn't
inside.
matter. Yeah. The courier, that person is simply a courier. He's a messenger. What is the message is important. And that message, that, as I told you just now, that loud voice triggered me from inside. So I am now focused on the loud voice, not the person who spoke in that manner. As soon as the moment you start doing this, you will see your triggers are going to keep on getting cleaned up. This is letting go process. I have learned this from unified course. Actually, this is something I'm practicing now also. It has completely transformed my judgmental nature. This
Wow.
unified program is amazing. I was working on my, I recognize that I am very judgmental, and I was working on it for 5 years. I was not able to get any success on it. And this course in the last 3 months, my goodness, it has cleaned up everything. Now I don't have this issue of judgment. Now because I am accepting of whoever the way they are. No more judgment. So triggers are
Beautiful.
going away. No more triggers now, right? When you have no judgment, there is no trigger. Nothing can make you angry.
You're accepting everyone, and you are in oneness basically.
Yeah, accepting everyone as they are,
Yeah.
which may not necessarily mean that I agree with them. These are two different things. People have this problem that how can I accept something? You are not accepting their actions. You are accepting them as they are. You may not agree with their actions, which is fine. You have your own value system. You evaluate things different from them, right? So you don't have to agree with them, but you can accept, yes, this person is like this.
Or,
I accept
sir,
it. Yeah.
sir, you can also say that that is the style, or you realize that the person is talking loud or soft way is their nature or their
Mm-hmm.
style.
Yes.
So if you understand that in your mind, then you will not going to think about trigger that, oh, his voice is harsh or loud or soft.
Yes. Yeah.
You are accepting the way it
Yes.
is delivered.
Yes. Exactly. So when they deliver that way, it will not be anything new to you because you have accepted, you are expecting them to speak like that, and they are meeting your expectation. That's okay.
But I think some point we have to convey them too that if it is too loud and it's disturbing you,
Hmm.
you can't just take it everything whatever they are saying, right? We should convey, especially if it's kids, and as a parent, you have to inform them if they're loud, or we do mention that inside voice in the house, like any kind of noise if they're doing, you cannot just say that okay, I'm accepting the way they are, and you can just keep quiet, right? So you have to probably express that it is irritating me or it is disturbing me, and after that it's okay. That's how I feel. I don't know if it is
Have
right.
you, okay. So far, have you done this with your children like this?
Yes, yes.
And what was the consequence of it? Did it
If
change?
suppose if I'm in a class right now
Yeah.
and they're making too much noise, of course
Hmm.
I have to tell them to be quiet.
Yeah, you
So
have done
they
it.
do.
So what
Yes,
I'm saying is you did it in the past. Did it stop that activity?
I have to tell them, then they stop.
Hmm. Yeah.
If I
And
don't
but
tell them, they
next
don't.
next time again it will happen the same way, right?
Yes.
So understand now you are more experienced and more mature than the children. You have to now understand that they are repeating that behavior to reflect to you something inside you. There is something inside you which is making them behave that way. If that got satisfied, they will not do anything like that at all. Naturally they will not do it,
Mm.
right? So that disturbance actually is here in you. When you take care of that disturbance, whatever could be the it is that is internal to you, you will have to figure it out in your quiet period, in your unified practice. You will have to, in your quiet period, come out with what are my thoughts which are coming in way of my peaceful mind, right? And then those are the things which are going to help you resolve that pattern inside you. And the children will stop reflecting it to you, children or anyone else for that matter, right? What we do is we use a direct method. Okay, tell them, and because it momentarily stops them, you think it works, right? So you have basically deferred the problem, you have not eliminated the problem.
So,
Now,
sir, you are saying here that is the person who says something about they are making noise. So I'm saying something that is mean. It is my judgment, correct?
yes, yes,
That is
but
judgmental thing.
correct. And very recently, I had this question from one of my in my group. Somebody asked me this question. Say, for example, if I know that this person, whoever, maybe my from my family or friend or whoever, I see that they are taking advantage of me. What should I do? Was the question. Should I tell them to go away, or should I just keep sending love to them? This was a question. So, what I told them was definitely be in a state of love, because they are also made in the image of God. They have all the qualities of the God that you have. So it doesn't mean that you don't tell them to stop. You tell them to stop, but go from the foundation of love, not from the foundation of the ego, which is telling you, oh, I don't like it. That is your ego basis, right? So instead of going from that point of view, go from the point of view of being in your heart space. This other person is my own reflection. Okay, with that you can simply, with that energy, when you go to this person and tell them, well, I feel that this thing that you are doing is not good for me, and I would like this to not happen again. Go with that energy of love, though. You can always take your stand for sure, but take it with love, not with ego. You will see that that thing will get resolved then and there, right there. So our perspective matters a lot, because that is the lesson for me only, right? When somebody is troubling me, it's my lesson. And once I resolve that inside me by going from the perspective of love, I have resolved the issue. So that's the difference the unified made in my life.
So how we present, that is more important. Yeah, we have some reservation or saying something that, oh, this is bothering me. But the way you present
Hmm.
and show your thing that, okay, this is the way, if I'm in class, please
Yeah.
do not make noise or do not disturb right now. Is important to listen other people, or I'm in class. So if you say nice way without ordering or saying anything
Hmm.
which offended to kids or anybody,
Hmm.
that may make sense, right?
Yes. So as far as kids are concerned, before you react to them, first of all, go into your heart space.
Right.
They are your children. They are your
Right.
children. When you look at your children, you feel love naturally, right? So first of all, allow your anger to settle down,
Mm.
Going to your heart space, when you are in your heart space, you will feel love for the children.
Correct, correct.
When you are in that state of love, your message to them will automatically will be filled with love only. It can be no other way.
And they will remember, oh, mom says, or anybody, whoever said,
Yeah,
oh, I don't have to make noise because you are in class or whatever, you are doing some important task. So they
yeah,
will away, go away.
yeah,
And yeah.
yeah.
So
You
both the way you are satisfied.
also, you are giving them a lesson for their own life.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's our, it's only our perspective, right?
Hmm.
That we are trying to resolve. So that's how I basically explained this to the folks in my group there.
Rishi. Masters, any more questions? Yeah, I think those were the only two I had.
Okay. Okay. No problem. It's okay. I mean, we don't have to necessarily have long sessions every time. Whatever the very purpose of this session is to answer the questions that you have at this time. You can have more questions in future, and those can be addressed at a later point in time. So it's all right. No problem at all. If all of you are happy with where you are, perfect. That's the best thing. And
Yeah,
if any of you have not done unified, I would recommend it to all of you. It's such a beautiful thing. It's the best thing I have ever come across in my life in terms of learning.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
done it 2021 actually, unified course with the New Jersey team. And after that, the recent one, I've been on and off, but not regularly doing it. So, but the first time when they did in 2021, that was like a huge shift for me. Oh my God, this is so. But at that time, I was new to meditation, new to everything. So I don't know how much I got it. So it's definitely good idea to do again. So I do like random few videos, but not the whole thing. I haven't done it. So I have to go back and do.
Yes.
Thank
And
you. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you have the book in your hand now, the unified book.
I'm getting the book actually. It should be here any day. So Master is
I
posting
I am
to.
the one who printed these books, and
Oh,
I am the one
really?
who
Thank you so
translated the book
much.
into Hindi. So the Hindi translation was done by me only.
Sir, I'm doing right now. This is
Hmm.
my second time. I
Hmm.
did in 21 and right now I'm doing, and
Hmm.
we are in the last chapter reviewing. Yeah.
Beautiful. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm from New Jersey.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay. So you are with Sudhakarji's group, right? Yeah.
Sagar, yeah, same group. We are
Yeah.
friends. Yeah. Yeah.
Very excellent. Yeah. So
Thank you so much, Shaileji. I think the book is
yeah.
really useful.
Mm-hmm.
No, the translation, whatever you have done, I think I'm getting the English one.
Hmm.
Uh, so it really helps having a book for me.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely,
Doing
I'm
the
looking forward for the book.
yeah,
But
doing the
book
book was a
also
big
available.
experience.
Book is available. You can read every chapter yourself
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, the
before
physical book I'm getting
before you
in
go
mail.
to the session. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, we are talking about the physical printed book.
Yeah. I'm talking about the PDF book.
Yes. So yeah, the printed book is what we are talking about. I got these books printed and distributed, right?
I
So
know. I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that process of doing the translation and designing the cover of the book,
Mm-hmm.
that was an amazing transforming experience personally for me. I
Right.
have that cover, the whole design, the Babaji's picture, etc. I made it all myself.
Mm.
That was very nice. I mean, like I experienced how Babaji plays with us.
Right.
That picture was an experience. So,
So I do like this.
hmm,
One day, say 7 days we have per chapter, right?
hmm,
So one day I read PDF
hmm,
my way to understand better way because one time reading is not enough. To understand book, you have to read multiple times. So
Hmm.
one night I read the chapter, next night I listen audiobook,
Hmm.
and then morning we have session. So
Yes.
that way it makes your more understanding, and you get more cream out of the thoughts and
Yes.
the presentation.
Yes. Yes.
Will I
And
stop the recording? Sorry.
yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We
If
can
any
stop
more
the.
questions, then I'll keep it. If not, I'll stop the recording then.
Yeah.